cars feel like magic: instant torque, whisper quiet rides, and cheaper running costs. But one wrong assumption can turn that magic into a headache. In the next couple of minutes, you'll get the real story on electric cars. What they do brilliantly, where they still lag, and why some trade-offs matter more depending on how and where you live. I'll tell you which EV myths are actually true, which advantages stick in the real world, and which disadvantages can be fixed with smart choices, or sometimes it cannot be fixed. Stay with me, because the thing that makes EVs awesome is the same thing that creates their limits. Electric cars win fast in three big things. First, performance. Hit the accelerator and the torque is instant. No gearbox hunting, no turbo spooling. It feels like the car is pushing you into the seat. Second, running cost. Electricity per mile is usually cheaper than gasoline per mile. Fewer oil changes, no timing belts, fewer moving parts. That adds up to the real savings over time. Third, environmental profile. Even accounting for manufacturing and battery production, EVs can seriously lower emissions in countries with cleaner grids. And as grids decarbonize, EVs get cleaner over their lifetime. Those are the headlines. Now let's slow down and look at the details so you can actually use on day-to-day basis. Charging at home is the biggest convenience many owners love. Plug in overnight and your car is ready every month. That's like waking up to a full tank without setting foot at the station. Home charging also tends to be the cheapest way to power an EV because you're using off-peak electricity and avoiding public charger fees. But life isn't just home charging. The public charging network is improving fast. Yet it's inconsistent. Fast chargers exist, but they aren't everywhere and they can be busy. Some chargers limit power depending on local grid constraints, or if cars are drawing from the same bank. That's where range anxiety creeps in. It's the doubt that your car will get you where you need to go without long waits or detours. Range itself has improved drastically. Modern EVs can routinely do 250 to 350 miles on a charge, and some luxury models push much further. For many daily drivers, that's more than enough. But extreme matters. Cold weather cuts range, aggressive driving cuts range, and towing or hauling heavy loads cuts range as well. So the real question is not whether an EV can do X miles on charge. It's whether it can do the miles you need in the conditions you face. Batteries are at the heart of both the advantages and the disadvantages. They give the instant power and energy density and makes EVs usable, but batteries are heavy, expensive, and flaky, mostly about temperatures and charge rate. Heat and cold both hurt performance. Charging very fast can speed up degradation if done all the time. Manufacturers manage this with thermal systems, conservative charging curves, and warranty promises. But physical reality remains. Battery chemistry doesn't love abuse. Maintenance is another angle. EVs have fewer routine maintenance items. No oil changes, no spark plugs, no exhaust system to rust out. That reduces long-term ownership headaches. On the flip side, when the battery or power electronics do fail, repairs can be expensive. A major battery module replacement isn't the same as replacing a brake pad. For many drivers, that's a non-issue because batteries are designed to last thousands of cycles, and warranties cover many of the problems for years. But for high mileage, fleet use, or heavy-duty applications, battery health becomes a business consideration. Let's talk cost. Upfront sticker prices for EVs have come down but still often run higher than comparable gas cars, mostly because batteries are expensive to produce. Total cost of ownership often favors EVs for people who drive a lot, charge at home, and keep the car long enough to amortize the purchase. For low-mileage drivers who never charge at home, the math can flip the other way. Then comes infrastructure and the grid. If everyone charges at the same time, local circuit and distribution transformers can strain. That's why smart charging and time-of-use pricing are increasingly important. Utility and automakers are building systems to shift charging into off-peak windows and throttle charge rates so the grid isn't overwhelmed. That requires coordination and upgrades, and those things take money and time. Finally, recycling and manufacturing matters. Batteries require minerals like lithium, nickel, and cobalt. Mining and processing can be environmentally damaged if done poorly. Industry is responding with better recycling, battery chemistries that can reduce critical minerals, and supply chain improvements. But these are long-term solutions, not instant fixes. Here's a central challenge. EVs are better at certain kind of driving and worse at others. If you live in a dense city with garage access, an EV can be a dream. Quiet, cheap to run, and effortless. If you live in a rural area with long highway runs and minimal charging infrastructure, an EV can be inconvenient and sometimes impractical. The challenge for the industry is to make EVs broadly usable without forcing drivers to change their lives dramatically. Another major problem is public charging reliability. Unreliable chargers can create feedback loop. People hesitate to buy EVs because chargers are inconsistent, because adoption is slow and investment in charging remains uneven. Breaking that loop requires investment, regulation, and business models that make chargers profitable and reliable. That's also a behavioral challenge. Humans are creatures of habits. Filling at the gas station is quick and predictable. Charging requires planning or at least acceptance that you might wait. Changing the habit on a large scale takes time and smart incentives. So how do we solve these problems and make the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? One approach is better batteries. Chemistries are improving. Solid state and next generation chemistries promise higher energy density, faster charging, and better safety. Those would reduce weight, extend range, and make fast charging gentler on the cells. But commercializing new chemistries take time and capital. Another approach is smarter charging infrastructure. Faster chargers with standardized interfaces and better maintenance reduce wait times and frustrations. Paying attention to reliability, ensuring chargers are online and functioning is just as important as building new stations. Network chargers with reservation systems, predictive maintenance, and integrated billing make user experience smoother. A third approach is grid modernization. Utilities implementing smart charging, vehicle-to-grid capabilities, and local energy storage can handle increased EV load without massive new infrastructure. Time-of-use pricing and demand response programs steer charging away from peak loads. That reduces cost and prevents local overloads. A fourth approach is design and user experience. Automakers can build cars that precondition batteries when navigation shows a charging stop, that integrate charging reservations, and that display realistic range predictions that account for weather and load. These simple UX moves reduce anxiety and make technology reliable. A fifth approach is policy. Governments can accelerate charger deployment in under-reserved areas, providing incentives for workplace charging and set standards for charger uptime and interoperability. That reduces fragmentation and builds trust. A sixth approach is education, helping buyers understand the real-world trade-offs. How much range they actually need, how to charge intelligently, how to maintain range in cold weather, can reduce surprises and increases satisfaction. When you stack the right tech and policy together, EVs stop being a niche for urban early adopters and become a practical choice for millions. Imagine a near future where you wake up, plug in at home, never worry about the daily range, and find reliable high-speed charging on long trips with minimal waiting. That future needs better batteries, smarter grids, and nudge to break old gas habits. It's achievable, but only if we invest the whole system: cars, chargers, grid, and the user behavior, not just the catchy new models. But there is a warning. Half-baked solutions create frustrations. Fast chargers that fail frequently, inflated range claims that doom user in winter, but a market that relies on subsidies rather than solid economics will slow adoption. The industry must solve the real problems, not just the PR ones. Electric cars bring huge advantages: instant performance, lower operating costs for many drivers, and a clear path to lower lifecycle emissions. The downsides are real: upfront costs, charging time and access, battery sensitivity to temperature and charge patterns, and need for grid upgrades and recycling systems. For many drivers, an EV isn't already the right choice. For others, the tech or infrastructure still needs a little push. The smart path forward is layered: better batteries, smarter chargers, grid upgrades, policy support, and honest user education. When we fix those pieces, EVs stop being a specialist choice and become the normal. practical option for almost everyone.